As we were filming this, a couple of days ago, Dame Maggie Smith died. And, and I wanted to, as a tribute, just watch a movie and do it for the channel, of course. But when you look at her lists, there's a lot of stuff on it where she is either a supporting cast or part of an ensemble cast. And there's actually very few things in which she is the main character in films. So she did mostly films. She actually came from theater. I think the first time she was in film for serious was the Laurence Olivier Othello. And I think she played Desdemona in that. Off the top of my head, 1965. But she was on stage. She was a stage actress. And she rolled into the British movies as always able to deliver lines really well, supporting cast. Having a real person who does supporting cast well is so important, because it can make your project. And when your main actors are really working hard for something difficult and your support cast is helping them out, oh my god, it's so helpful. And for the period pieces, she did a lot of literature, period pieces. You need a lot of different people and a lot of different types and a lot of different personalities, and she was so good at that. But it does mean she was hardly ever in a starring role. In fact, there was only one, which is the the prime of Miss Jean Brodie. But the problem with this movie, Miss Jean Brodie, which is what she plays, is maybe not such a nice person. And as a tribute movie for Dame Maggie Smith, the performance is stellar. The content is what we're going to talk about, but the performance is stellar. So I can actually recommend another movie, which was the year before. She did something called Hot Millions, which is a fun movie with Peter Ustinov. I will make a review of that one as well. But if you want to look at a fun Maggie Smith role, it's not as big as a starring role, because again, she's not going to be the starring one there. She is the second person, but Peter Ustinov is the star. Anyway, enjoy that one, and we're going to this one now. The prime of Miss Jean Brodie is it's actually first a book, 1961. Then almost immediately turned into a play, and the person who turned it into a play also wrote the screenplay for this movie. That should give you an indication. It has been a play. It's gonna be good, and it is. The way the scenes have been put together, it's smooth. It's smooth. It runs. All that is wonderful. The problems are the content. It is a 1961 book, but it harks back to an earlier time, and kind of in the 60s. It's actually 61 is a little bit early for that, but 60s, 70s there was an entire nostalgia craze to the 30s and stuff like that. It's very, very weird. The Hollywood had it, and therefore British cinema also has it a little bit, but they have their own version of it. And this one is sort of a critical look at 1930s Edinburgh of all places. Yeah, it's a nostalgia, a critical nostalgia is what I would call this. And it tells the story of one Jean Brodie, a teacher at a all-girls school in Edinburgh starts in 1932, and she stands in front of the class, and I'm not quite sure what she's teaching. That's one of the nigglies I have with this. The setup is that I don't understand how the school actually works. At first, the kids that first start out, the girls, the Brodie Girls, which are 5 girls of about 11, 11 or 12 years old. And at first I thought, oh, they're either first year of high school, or they're the last year of grade school, but no, that doesn't seem. Later, Jean Brodie is presiding over a class of 8-year-olds, and then she also much later, she has these girls, the Brodie girls, who are then 16. They're also in her class at some point. I don't understand how it works. I don't understand which subject she's teaching. She's talking about art a lot and about a little bit geography, but I don't think that's what she's giving. I think it's probably history, but they never say it. It's the other teacher. There's a music teacher, and there's an art teacher. There's even a person who's in charge of phys ed. They call that gym in Dutch. The
LO.
LO. Yeah. There's a chemistry teacher. There's even the 2 teachers who are sort of together, who teaching these kids, because it's an all-girls school in the 1930s, to use sewing machines. And so everybody seems to have a sort of a purview, except that I don't know what Brodie's purview is. Is she doing history? And is she just... does she has a class, the same class all the time? Because it seems to be that's how... it's not clear. I think it's not clear because I'm not familiar enough with the way schools are set up in England. That's one, but it's also because it's a play. The play is put together like puzzle pieces, and you don't have time for some of the glue. So you have to stick them in and go on, because you don't have time. They go through about a period about 5 years of this woman educating these with these Brodie girls, these 5 girls sort of flocking around this lady. And I think the message is, it's not quite a message of the film or the book, but as you go along, you realize the way this lady is talking to her pupils, it's not right. It's not, no. She is talking too much out of the curriculum. She gets warned a couple of times by the head teacher that she's straying off too much. But it is 1932, and then later it gets onwards, and she goes traveling because she's a cultured lady, goes to Italy because she's a cultured lady, and is introduced to people in Mussolini's purview because she's a cultured lady. And I think I have to explain that because I did see it somewhere else as well. But in the 1930s, the way that Mussolini and the other fella was running their place, some people were sort of, these people are getting on with things. They're building stuff from nothing. And they felt, we dig it. And that's what she's doing. She digs the way that, exactly. The peanut gallery is looking very upset at me right now. A wry look, definitely a wry look. Yes, that's the problem. And Jean is doing a fantasy, I think, in her head of how the world should be. But does that match actual reality? Maybe not so much. And that's the problem. And that's I think the message of this film is basically that's not right, and that should not be. She gets her comeuppance in the end to make, What makes this film wonderfully good is the acting. But the content is objectionable in all kind and in more ways than one. One of the things I didn't like, Jean Brodie tells her kids that she had her lover who left to die at Flounders Field, and there's a lot of things they don't explain and don't say. You have to know your history to know. And Flounders Field, of course, World War One, and so he cannot have been. He cannot have survived 1918 because that's when it ended. So, in 1918, she already had and lover is the superlative terms that could be it's a beau, yes, somebody. But so in 1918, she had already had somebody, so she must have been at least 16. And in 1932, she is therefore 30 or 32. Cannot be younger than that. And this is called the prime of Miss Jean Brodie. Because that's what she talks about. It's my prime and I'm giving it to your children and giving my best of my years to you, the children of the school. Going, and these kids are very young, so they're lapping it up at the start. But as this little group of the 5 girls are growing up, especially one of them, because one of them is real smart, they start to get some idea. Especially the smart one is the one who gets the idea. One of the ones that is not so smart is one Mary McGreggor. And Brodie has to keep repeating the name of Mary McGreggor. She keeps calling her Mary McGregor all the way through. And the other girl, Sandy, the smart one, calls her on it at the end, because you keep having to say Mary McGregor's name completely, otherwise you don't even know who she is. And this is one of the girls that's supposed to be running after for 5-6 years already. So Jean Brodie does this little dance with first the art teacher, then after, and that's already ended before the film starts, but it comes back to haunt her a couple of times. And then she's doing a dance with the music teacher. The music teacher, by the way, is Gordon Jackson, so singing very, very, very wonderfully. But because she broke up with the art teacher, who is still at the school, this guy, he grabs at her, he manhandles her. I thought that was really weird and strange, and I was thinking about it later because the music teacher, I think he's also called, he's also called Gordon as his first name, Lowther. The music teacher never manhandles her, but in the end, she doesn't want him. She keeps putting it off so much that at some point he asks, and she just, when she doesn't say yes, because he wants to marry. This guy wants to marry. The other guy, the art guy, already has a wife and 6 kids. So unavailable, and so she picks somebody who's unavailable, and then she picks another person she doesn't really want, which is very strange because on paper this guy is perfect. He's got his own castle. He can sing. He is nice. He doesn't manhandle her. He wants to marry her. What more could she possibly want? And she doesn't want him. And then in the end, when he picks the chemistry teacher, because he wants to marry, she's upset. This woman is weird, and I that's one of my things with this film, is this woman is not a good way of showing a woman. I mean, yes, of course there's dumb women as well, but on the whole, you don't make the bad person the protagonist of a story. Death Note notwithstanding, if people who know. But on the whole, you don't. And because she's a really good actress, she can take this despicable person and make at least see why the art teacher likes her and why the music teacher likes her and why these girls at least look up to her for a while. And it's kind of like maybe it's this disillusionment, because that's what for Sandy. We follow Sandy a little bit. It's not really her story, but we follow her a little bit as a point of view character to the end, to the final scene where they talk to each other, and Sandy explains how she realizes what Brodie is doing. Sandy figures out what Brodie is like and then exposes her and makes her sure she loses her job because stuff with the Mary McGreggor storyline, which is the reason she should have been sacked, and she was sacked for it. For years, she's been spouting stuff, pro-Mussolini stuff, other stuff. I mean, the lady talks all day, so the Mussolini stuff is not the major part of the stuff, but it's part of the stuff. And Mary McGregor came to the school as an orphan girl, but with a brother. There is money. These are not poor people. This is a rich school for upper middle class people. So even though Mary McGregor is an orphan and her brother, there is money. There's a solicitor. There's money coming in. So, but she's getting, from the other four girls, she's getting a lot of flack. I mean, look. Everybody seen Harry Potter? Remember Moaning Myrtle? This is this girl. This is where J.K. Rowling got her. Is this girl. Mary McGregor is Moaning Myrtle. Absolutely. So this girl, she has a stutter. She's fat. Moaning Myrtle in the book was fat and had glasses. This one doesn't have glasses, but she is round. She has a stutter. She has a stuttering personality. She has no personality at all. And sort of when she gets into Brodie's class, who has lots of personality, she sort of starts to, I don't know, absorb some of it. She doesn't actually do anything with it, but she's basking in the glory of... Anyway, whatever Mr. Brodie says, she laps up for 5 years nearly. And then it's about 1937, and there is a war on in Spain, civil war. I'd have to look it up, but it was complicated. It's going to be in the news in 1937 in Edinburgh, in the news. So Brodie will have known a lot of it from all those sources, and she'd be spouting it in class. And saying, oh, the side of the, I think that's the regime side, is the good side because she's pro-fascist, basically. So she's going to pick the fascist side. And Mary McGregor has been listening to it, and then they hear, oh, Mary McGregor's brother, who was a couple of years older and who was ahead of her and already gone to university, has disappeared and gone off to fight in self-same war. So... Jean, and this is sort of behind the scenes, so we find that out from Sandy later. Jean Brodie organizes Mary some money and some information, and basically Sandy says to somebody else, yeah, Mary doesn't know anything. You'd have to give her a stack of envelopes. Here says this is the French money in this envelope, marked French money. Here's the one with the Spanish money. It's marked Spanish money. Because, and then here's a list of where you have to go in order to get to from this station to that station. Take that train to, because she is that dumb. I'm not sure if dumb is the right thing. She is just has no impetus. Has no movement. You have to kick her in the butt before she moves. So if you feed her only information of the things to do, she can do them. But I'm sure, because we were not privy to the conversation between Mary McGregor and Jane Brodie about this, and I probably think Jean did push her to go to Spain, but Mary did go by herself. And then shortly after, there is the newspaper article, a bombing of a train in Spain, and one Mary McGregor of Edinburgh was on board. She's dead. And then it gets even better, because it is Sandy is smart, who comes to tell Jean at the end. Yes, because Jean keeps spouting, "Oh, she died for the cause, even though she just died on a train on the way there, and she didn't even see battle or anything like that. It's just she died for the cause, and it was glorious and all that." And then Sandy says, "You do realize, right, that she went to fight for the fascists. Her brother went to fight for the other side." Oops. Yeah, this is the stupidity of this woman, is that she gets this sort of ring wrong. It's kind of fundamental. Ah. Now it says on my list, say something nice about the movie, because this is just part. This part was just on the story. Okay. Something nice about the movie. It's filmed. It's set in Edinburgh. It's filmed in Edinburgh. I've been to Edinburgh. There's a few of which she points. Oh, that's Edinburgh Castle, and she says something about history. Yeah, that's Edinburgh Castle. The view over the terraces, and there's like when you've been to Edinburgh, you know there's like this whole thing is like slanted on a hill, and there's all steps and stairs made in stone, and so you go up and down all the time. And yes, they have a couple of views of that. So you have Gordon Jackson, who is Scots, and then a couple of the other peoples as well. And I think Maggie Smith also has enough roots to do it properly. They have the lovely original accent of Edinburgh Scots, which is thank goodness better than Northern Scottish, because that you wouldn't understand it at all. I think they do make sure to keep down the wee Scottish words, because I think literally "we" is the only one that I ran into that is not British. It is English with the Scottish accent, as I think it probably should be, because in the 1932 or the 1930s, in a girls' school in Edinburgh, they're trying to teach these kids to speak British as much as possible, do all the British things. Not forgetting Scots or Scottish history, but they're trying to be upper middle class. These girls are intended to marry business people. And for that you need the basic, all the very basic stuff to a very nice level, and nice diction, and a little bit of regional accent. I think probably because this film is from 1968, but the school was in 1930s, and I think probably in 1930s in Edinburgh they would have tried to. There would be a class on diction of British, BBC British, and lose the Scots accent, because there was in 1968 probably that was coming back, and therefore we have now a film in in the regional accent, which was almost new as an idea. Now for the television it took very long time, 2005, before you got like regional accents more than just a one-off thing, like the Doctor had a regional accent in Doctor Who in 2005, which was for no reason whatsoever, and that's new. I enjoyed it for that. Enjoy it for all of those things. I have to say something about the costumes, because it is 1932 and you expect 1932 fashion. That's not flapper fashion, unfortunately. They're a couple of years too late. But they kind of downplay that, because the girls in the school are wearing uniforms, which are uniforms. And then the teachers are wearing, yes, it is in 1932. It could be, but too understated for 1932. I think that probably the lapels are a little too understated. The hair is interesting because I think that Maggie Smith had short hair. At that, she had like a 60s bob cut, which is very, very round. And so she has the round, but they sort of give it a bit of a 30s weave. It's okay. I mean, if the fashion is that much off, then the hair is it's fine. More interesting are the girls. The girls that you spent like 5 years with, who are like 11 when they start, but they're about 16 when the story ends. And they are the same girls, which the actresses, which is very interesting. And the smart one, has her hair pretty short at the beginning, and it grows longer because that's correct. Because in about 1927 is about the flapper height, and then it goes down, and that's when people had their hair short. And so if you're growing it out from that period on, it takes time to grow it out. So it's very interesting to see the hair kind of, I think they're doing some sort of trick with wigs or something like that, but it's really, really artfully done without drawing attention to it. It's really smartly done. Of course, Jean Brodie, who comes from age 30 to age 36 or anywhere from up from that, doesn't change all that much. But, you know, this lady makes me so tired. And I love Maggie Smith acting. She is so riveting. And I mean, you watch her say these horrible things, and you go, oh my God, this is, I'd love to do. I'd have to go and re-see that Othello with her in it, because I want to see her do Shakespeare. She's gonna be so marvelous. Last thing on my list is some more Harry Potter trivia. There is the I have here, kind of in order of what you see, is the uniforms of these girls are obviously the same ones as Beauxbaton's uniforms. They're completely the same type. Is it because, school, maybe? But the thing is, I think J.K. Rowling looked at this movie and at Goodbye Mr. Chips a lot of times, and there's a lot of like the way that Brodie talks. I don't think J.K. channeled it right in the book, but I see some of Snape in that. There's the song of the school at the beginning. That's how the movie pretty much opens. Is they sing the school song I don't know if that at the start of every term or at the start, probably not at the start of every day. I mean, neither of us have been to English schools, so we don't know. But at least at the start of the term, they sing the school song out of tune, which is exactly how to do it in Harry Potter. There's a dance lesson. The two girls are dancing with each other. And the Mary McGreggor is Moaning Myrtle, of course. And then there is a library scene in which the girls are talking too loudly in the school library. And there is, of course, a librarian who shushes them, which is exactly the same as in Harry Potter. You know, give it a little while and we'll have a complete list of what sources J.K. Rowling used to make her Harry Potter thing. That notwithstanding, Dame Maggie Smith is absolutely wonderful. She is young and, she is in her 30s, which is... There are some roles that are older, but there's just more side characters and stuff like that. I do recommend this movie for what it is. I still say this is not... it is written by a woman, directed by a man, but I don't think that matters very much in this case. Maybe about women or women that this lady has met in the past. I hope these people don't exist or have ever existed. I may live in idle hope. But she's not a hero of any kind. She's just I'm not even sure if she's a villain. Is she? She may be a villain. So villain protagonist. Goodie. As such, enjoy it. As a play, enjoy it. Absolutely. It is a marvelous play of people making a royal mess of themselves. Yeah, so I recommend. And that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.